Deadpool and Wolverine comes out like, what, 17 years into Disney Marvel? And it already was its own thing with Fox. So you kind of, you can silo it so that it doesn't make moms and dads squeamish. There's already this track record for Marvel. Whereas this is like the second big thing that James Gunn does. Because Superman just came out. Normies just figured out, oh, James Gunn is behind this now. Okay, this is a new thing. Oh, honey, sweetie, let's watch this Peacemaker thing. They said we're supposed to watch, Superman and watch this. And then they watch it, and what happens? The parents say, well, that's it, kids. Go to bed. We'll never do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
Renegade Online.
Given what they did with Peacemaker Season 2, what did you think about Superman being pulled early so people could watch it digitally so they could watch Peacemaker after what that became? I mean, Mike, what in the world was that? It was made Game of Thrones blush.
Not a fan of that decision. I kind of got it, but at the same time, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
But it doesn't even make sense in the context, like Pro is saying. You're pulling the family-friendly PG-13 movie so everybody can watch it at home in preparation for a borderline NC-17. I mean, like, what are we doing here? This is crazy. Like, who is this for? Who is this show for? Is it for the boys crowd? Is that what we're trying to do? We're trying to turn DC into the boys. I got into arguments on my night stream the night that Peacemaker dropped. I'm arguing back and forth with everybody that's calling me a soft little Nancy. And I'm like, listen, I can watch whatever I want to watch. That's not the point. DC is not the boys. It's never been the boys. So yeah, I've seen the boys. I know what the boys is. That's not what we should be trying to do with the DC universe. I feel like that's James Gunn, in my opinion, now is as far as I'm concerned, he was the wrong man for the job.
And he may well have been. And ultimately, this decision to shift the distribution on Superman, originally it was slated for 45 days, which has been pretty common for Warner Brothers. A 45-day theatrical window, and then it goes to premium video on demand, right? Not streaming or anything like that, but PVOD. You gotta pay money to get at it. Right? You still have to pay $30 to buy it, $25 to rent it. They want you to buy it, obviously. But then they pulled this short and they went to 35 days. And then Gunn came out and said the thing about it. I'm like, well, that's fine and dandy, but you know what? Ultimately, it's not up to James Gunn. I mean, this is up to JB Perrette. He's the guy in charge of distribution at Warner Brothers. He's on the earnings calls with Gunnar and David Zaslav every call. Ultimately, this lands in JB Perrette's lap. And I'm like, what on earth? I mean, obviously, somebody in JB Perrette's office had to be looking at it saying, okay, if we go 10 days early before this happens and that happens, we can use this as a promo to buy PVOD. And some number cruncher in that office said if we go 10, this is usually how it works. They don't just make these decisions in a vacuum. Some number cruncher in that office said, if we go 10 days early because of X, Y, and Z, and this is what James Gunn is saying, that we'll make an extra $10 million in PVOD sales or some damn thing, right?
Yeah. And
they figured, well, how much money are we going to sacrifice with box office tickets? Well, if we go to PVOD 10 days early, we're going to lose $20 million in box office over the next few weeks. Okay, well, how much are we going to make up in PVOD? Well, we'll make an extra $15 million in PVOD. You're like, well, we're going to make more money on the PVOD than the ticket sales. So let's go to PVOD, right? This is just general. This isn't necessarily something that's strictly Warner Brothers, but this is how these decisions are made. They sit there and they come up with these things. From that standpoint, they're like, oh, we'll make more money. But at the same time, it's like, let's not go backwards. Because one of the things that David Zaslav and JB Perrette were vehemently against the minute they took over in early 2022 was the Jason Kilar Project Popcorn, which was streaming and theaters on the same day. And if you remember that one, 2021, you had this thing with Jason Kilar where everything went to streaming on HBO Max and theaters on the same day. It was a disaster. And now, and they fired Jason Kilar for that, which was the right choice. And it's like, let's not dance back in that direction, guys. I know you're not going to HBO Max after 35 days. Thank God, because that would be really stupid. But going to PVOD, I'm not a big fan of either. A movie like Superman was legging out very well. Regardless of whether you thought it was good or not, I don't care. From a business standpoint, they should have let it go to 60 days. That would have been my thing. But they didn't want to do it, and they wanted to get it out there in time for Peacemaker, which I watched season 1, so I know the tone of the show. I laughed my butt off on season 1. When I saw the previews for season 2, I'm like, oh, they went even more crazy. I haven't watched any of season 2 yet. I'm not really that interested in it, to be honest. I was like, it just looks really, really. It's
but
like
it just didn't make any sense. The
trying
reasoning
really, really hard to be out
Deadpool
there with this. Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah. So
the difference with Deadpool though is that Deadpool and Wolverine comes out like what 17 years into Disney Marvel, and it already was its own thing with Fox. So you kind of you can silo it so that it doesn't make moms and dads squeamish. There's already this track record for Marvel, whereas this is like the second big thing that James Gunn does, and at least it's the biggest thing that he that people recognize because Superman just came out. Normies just figured out, oh, James Gunn is behind this now. Okay, this is a new thing. Oh, honey, sweetie, let's watch the this Peacemaker thing. They said we're supposed to watch Superman and watch this, and then they watch it, and what happens? The parents say, well, that's it, kids. Go to bed. We'll never do that again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know the thought process. I mean, I get it for the older audience out there that went to go see it. Okay, but not everybody that went to go see Superman was 20, 30, 40 years old, right? And they know this because we knew opening weekend that this movie was pretty well populated by younger audiences and kids.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.